Good morning. How are you? Since I changed the lives, it doesn't have this freeze up moment, which is fantastic, but taking me a second to get used to as well, because I was used to that pause, and it's like all of a sudden you're like, no, you're live. What are you doing? No pauses for you. Okay, let me pull this up on the phone so that I can see comments in case the comments are not coming up, which pause, is, and it's like all of a sudden you're like, no, you're bobbing. Okay. So, how are you today? It is Thursday, our last live for this week, and we have spent this week talking about mastering goals, and today is no different. So, say hi when you're logging in so that I know you're here. If you're watching for the first time, tell us where you're from because I love to get to know where everybody is. We've had some really, really exciting places pop in, and some places I have never even heard of pop in. So, let us know where you're at. If you're watching this in replay, good morning, Dawn. If you're watching this in replay, hashtag replay and engage because I'm going to ask questions today. And I will come back and I will engage with you. I am doing well, Dawn. Thank you. No babies today. No, so they were surprised me yesterday, but it allowed me to share my grandson with you guys. So it's all good. So if you didn't catch yesterday's for the first, I don't know, minute, my grandson was in there with me. So anyhow, that's what I ask of you guys. Engage, connect, answer questions because that's how I can answer you as to what you're looking for in life. So we have spent, like I said, the last 3 videos, today's video number 3, talking about mastering goals. In the first video, we talked about setting clear goals. We talked about why, and we touched on the SMARTER goal system. If you had not watched that, the SMARTER goal system is a great way of establishing goals and setting them. It comes from, it's derived from the original system of the SMART goals, and I've just modified it because I felt like it was missing something, so I created the SMARTER goal system. So it's a phenomenal system to actually create your goals, to create little steps along the way, and really dig in and be clear. So that was in day 1. In the second video, we really did talk very specifically through 8 categories of our lives and goals that we can set in those categories. We talked about relationships, we talked about our spiritual life, we talked about educational and professional goals, we talked about leisure goals. Gosh, it's important to have leisure goals. Like I know, like I talked about reading, and I wanted to read and finish like a book a month, and I would have been content with that, but no, it was great and on par because I read 19 books in that 1 year. So it's even leisure goals, right? It's good. Having goals does not mean like you're that all work and no play type of personality. Having goals doesn't mean that at all, because I promise you I'm not that all work and no play type personality. But having goals just gives you something to think about, something to do, something to prepare for, something to plan for, and action to take along the way. That's it. So your leisure goals, they can be goals. It's okay. It's still play. So that's good. So we talked about that, and we really dug into setting goals for 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, and then a plus, kind of like in the future, this is what I want to do. So my next question is, how many of you live and in replay went ahead and did 1 year goals? That was kind of what I told you. I was kind of dig into those 1 year goals. So how many of you did 1 year goals? Go ahead and drop a 1 if you did that. Don, he is amazing. He's a chunk meister, but he's absolutely, he's as solid as can be. Yeah, the extra E&R and the SMARTER goals, right? Expectation management and revelations is so key because sometimes we're going down the wrong path, or sometimes we don't even think something can knock us off course, and it does, and we got to kind of have a contingency. And so that's what we talked a lot about yesterday in the second video. Okay, so if you did create any goals, feel free in the comments to share one of your SMARTER goals. Even if you're not watching this live, if you're watching this in the non-social media site, share in the comments one of your SMARTER goals. And the same thing, if you're watching this in the non-social media site, then go ahead and what's it called, tell me if you want the SMARTER chart and if you want the life goals chart. Just put those in the comments and I'll make sure that you get them. Okay, so today we are going to talk about fighting the tide. Good morning, Lorraine. I'm glad that you're here again. I worked on 1 year in business. Good morning, Cami. I'm so glad that you're on, Cami. Excellent, excellent, guys. Okay, 1 year on your business. Oh, I love it, Dawn. I love that. I can't wait to hear what you've got going. Actually, you can shoot me a Voxer and tell me what you got going because I really want to see it. Okay, so we're going to talk about fighting the tide that pulls you under. Okay, drop a 2 if you know things like sabotage your goals. Like, not even you, right? Other things in life like sabotage your goals. Go ahead and drop a 2 if you know that that happens, if it's happened to you. I could drop like 22s right here. Okay, it has definitely happened to me, right? What are the types of things that get in your way? I really want to hear that from you in the comments. What are the types of things that happen that get in the way of aiming for your goals, of actually completing goals, right? 2, yeah, I know, Cami, absolutely. So the things that get in the way, like the complications, the distractions, the loss of directions, the setbacks. That's basically Lorraine. Yep, wholeheartedly too. That's what we're talking about is our setbacks, right? What gets in the way for you? Like, it's going to be different for each one of us. You may have 10 things that have gotten in the way. That happens too, right? Sometimes it's not just one thing that gets in the way. It's all good. Tell me what are some of the things that get in the way from you completing your goal. And if you had a goal in 2020, became derailed, right? Didn't come to fruition. Why? Tell me why. Lots and lots to use. I hear you, Dawn. Tell me what your goal was in 2020 and why it didn't come to fruition. So that's what I want to hear from you guys in the comments. Live, replay, and in the non-social media site. That's what I want to hear from you guys. What knocked you off track? Okay, that's what we're talking about. My husband thinks I'm not working when I'm on my phone. Well, I guess that just depends on what you got going on and what your job is. I can't answer that. But wholeheartedly, being on the phone totally can mean that you're working. Easily distracted, lack of support. Absolutely. Absolutely. Easily distracted is definitely huge, and lack of support speaks volumes. But all of that can totally be overridden. Good morning, Patty. All of that can wholeheartedly be overridden. All of it can. So let's talk about that a little bit, because those are definitely the things that pull us under, right? That make us feel like we're drowning and we totally lose sight of the goals that we're aiming to. Whatever goal, then. Oh, you got a concussion too. I'm sorry to hear that, Lorraine. That's awful. But yeah, COVID, totally, right? Who can't say COVID for 2020? Who can't say that you had goals and COVID hit and 2020 became like a train wreck? Yeah, I think, it may not be some of the big goals. You're your own worst enemy. Oh, wholeheartedly, but that's what we're going to talk about right now. But yeah, I mean, you guys know COVID knocked 2020 into oblivion, right? It's going to be the year you can say with absolute confidence, oh, I know what happened to my goals, right? Other years you're like, oh gosh, I just don't know what happened. No, 2020 can be like, oh yeah, I totally know. But okay, so what we want to talk about is getting through that, right? We know the why, we know what death generally is out of our control. What's it called? Sickness? Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. But we're just got to watch for the things that we can control. We've got to have an awareness. So what knocked you off track? That's what we're going to talk about, because that's what we're going to jump into. So now it's possible to realize, right, what knocked you off track is that might not have been your goal. Like that, the goal you had as life went on, you're like, oh yeah, that's just not the best goal for me. I don't need to do that. Not because you don't feel like you can do that, but just because you recognize that was not the right direction I should have been going in. Raise your hand if that's happened to you. Like you're going in a direction, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm not supposed to be going in this direction. And you kind of got to do a U-turn or a pivot and recreate a whole new plan, right? Sometimes that happens. And sometimes that's why our goal didn't happen, is because it wasn't the right goal. All right. But most of the times it's because something happened while we were en route to our goal. Something disrupted us, took us off track, and what's it called? And we just were out there floundering. Things that could be, right? You guys have mentioned some of them: easily distracted, lack of support, what's it called? Being your own worst enemy. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, totally raising your hand there, Cami. I feel you. Illnesses can take us, right? We just talked about COVID. Of course, that was a whole country shutting down, but not just that, right? If you got it, as Lorraine mentioned too, COVID and a concussion, right? An illness can take you off track. Injury, same type of thing. People, right? Here we were just talking to like a spouse who's not supportive, or a spouse who doesn't think that you're really working if you're on the phone, right? People can totally take us off track. How about the weather? The weather can totally, like, you get a blizzard, like you're supposed to be leading an event and you can't get there, right? That can totally take you off track. And Callie, she's my youngest daughter, she has had the craziest college experience. The poor kid is just trying to graduate. Just trying to graduate. Her first year, she was in community college, just knocking out Gen Ed. Second year, she went into UNC. And from that second year in UNC, like her first year of community college, great. Second year, when she went into UNC, the insanity that has ensued every single semester for that kid. But she is driving on. I mean, in the first semester, we had a hurricane hit. School was underwater for 2 weeks, so she was out of school. She was back in school one day, and my father-in-law died unexpectedly. So now she was out of school again. Only 16-week semester, right? She just lost almost 25% of her semester. Because there are holidays and spring break in there too. So fall break. So things like that took place, right? And then it just continued to accrue. There was another hurricane in another semester. There was terrible roommate situations in another semester. I mean, it just accrued for her. And to include, like, she came home from spring break last year 2 or 3 days early, and anybody who was on here in March, I was so excited to share that she surprised me. I mean, like, scared the daylights out of me because nobody was supposed to be walking in my house. Surprised me. And she never left, right? She didn't leave until September, because even when she was supposed to finally go back to school, she got COVID and couldn't go back to school. So I mean, the kid has had this craziest experience, to include this semester when they changed in January. They changed the January dates of when their school was going to start, and they changed the graduation dates, which also impacts a wedding. So right, there are things that happen. For her, there was weather, there were people, there was illness, time. Time is something else that impacts whether we make it to our goal or not, right? We can run out of time, or we misuse our time. And so therefore, all of a sudden we realize we're not getting anywhere. We're not getting the things done. Like this morning, I meant to put the podcast up. That's not up yet. My blog post, meant to work on my blog post. I was coloring. Sometimes in the morning when I'm just enjoying the quiet and I'm just thinking things through, I'll just color. And I was coloring for hours, okay? Lost track of time. So I still have a podcast to do. I still have a blog post to do, right? Those are things that did not happen because I started using my time wisely, because that really gets my brain thinking, but I just kind of let it go on too long. Okay, so those are the things that happen. And truly, the list is endless of things that can separate us from our goal. And it's not a matter of if something along the way happens. It really is a matter of when something happens, because life happens around us. Life is all over the place, right? It is just happening. And so how do we deal with it? How do we get back to doing what we're supposed to be doing, get back to our goals? How do we do that? Totally misuse my time. Oh, I think time is really, honestly, the largest thing that we either misuse or that gets taken away from us because others have demands on us that take too long. That is definitely, I think, the biggest thing that we have a misstep on, but it's also the greatest thing that we can control with our expectation management. So thinking about that way, okay, it is the biggest thing that impacts us, but honestly, the greatest thing that we have control over. So what do you do when something happens to take you off course? Not if. When something happens to take you off course. And here's where it's really key. If you did not watch video 1, you need to go back and watch video 1, because here's what's great. It's only about 15 minutes. Here's the key factor in that. You need to remind yourself, what is the goal and why? Okay, we talked about that all the way back in video 1. So what is the goal that you're trying to meet? You need that clarity, right? We could just say, going back to the weight loss thing, because it's an easy one that people relate to. We could just say, I want to lose weight. Not clear enough. We got to go back to that clear goal. I want to lose 25 pounds in 6 months, right? That was a clear goal. So we dig back into that goal, right? But we've got to remember why. I said this in that first video, if we don't know why, we're not going to reach the goal. because we're not motivated enough, we're not driven enough, and we don't understand why we even want it. You have to know the why. You guys know I ask why all the time. If you've had one-on-one coaching, you really know that. If you're in the intentionally doing program, you know why comes up all the time. Okay, but why is key. Why is absolutely key, because that's what's going to get you back on track. If you don't know your why, you have no reason to get back on track. None. It's just a goal. It's just words out there somewhere, right? There's not a true focus to it. So why is key. The clarity on what and the knowledge of why will be enough to drive you back to the course and marching onward. Okay, you are going to hit bumps on the road. I'm not even going to lie to you, right? You are totally going to hit bumps in the road, right? We all do. It happens all around us. What you do when you hit those bumps is going to make the big difference. How far you feel you are straying from your goal. Okay, you've got to look at the what, and you've got to remember the why, and you've got to get back into your plan. Maybe with that expectation management, you need to modify your plan. Okay, that's okay. That's okay if you need to modify your plan. You may find that some things weren't working. You may find that it was really too easy to go down a different course, and as opposed to stay on the right course, kind of take a little fork in the road. It's okay if you have to rework your plan, but the what and the why is going to get you back to your plan. Okay, even if it's a modified plan, and that's absolutely key. So, when you are confident of your why your goal is your goal, right? And the tides are no longer pulling you under, they are just a deterrent along the way, and you can paddle through and you can reach your goals, okay? That is absolutely possible for each of us. I totally misused my time. Yep. I just give up and become defeated. Yes. You become defeated and you've lost your why. You've lost your why. You lost focus of it. You lost sight of it. Okay. That's why I'm a huge advocate of writing things down, because it's a lot easier to pick things up and look at what you've written and read your why again than to just recall it from memory. Sometimes I have, like, you can't quite see because the way this is all set up, but sometimes I have not a post-it, but just a little bit of note along the side, just reminding me what I'm striving for. Sometimes I have it to remind me what the next step is that I'm supposed to be doing, right? Because remember, we're taking incremental steps, measurable steps along the way, measurable action, actionable steps, both of them along the way, right? Sometimes you just need that visual. That visual is key, okay? So having it written down is why we write it down. It's so that we can see that. We're not going off memory, because if you haven't figured it out by now, our memory gets a little skewed sometimes. And I'm not talking about aging, but if you're recalling something from your childhood, right? If you kind of had a good feeling, you're recalling an event in a positive way, even if something negative happened, right? If you didn't have a good feeling, you're recalling it in a negative way, even if it was something that good that happened, right? Our memory can play tricks on us, but when you have it written down, you recall everything that you are striving for and why, and that is what's key. So, if your goal is to be intentional in your life, okay, if you feel stuck, uncertain, overwhelmed, if you are not part of the Intentionally Doing program, okay, let me tell you a little bit about that, because we are digging into whys, we are setting goals, we are running forward with being intentional in our lives. Yes, keeping a list, it helps cross off what I've completed. Oh, wholeheartedly. Y'all know I'm huge on crossing things off because I need to see completion of things. And I know Patty's been on here and she said it, and a couple other people have said it in the past in the comments. You know, sometimes I add a task I already completed so I could cross it off, so I can see that that wasn't on the list to start with. So I can see things completed. Wholeheartedly, I've been there. So yeah, what we're doing. That's why I take so many photos and videos, so I can remember things accurately. Yes. Agreed. Okay, so if you're not part of the Intentionally Doing program, let me take a second to tell you what that is, okay? Because this is what we're doing in there. We are creating intentionality in all of your life. Plus you get one-on-ones with Michelle. You do. Okay, so the 12-month program. And 12 months starts like the day you sign up, and 12 months forward, okay? Every single month is a different module, okay? Each module walks through a very specific area in your life. How to be intentional in your faith so you will have a solid foundation and seek Him regularly. How to have an intentional mindset so you can have confidence and be focused and be driven and complete your goals, right? Complete the successes that you're looking for. How to be intentional in your physical well-being, so you can be at the top of your health, right? Wherever you are in your life. I am almost 50. And with that, I know I'm the healthiest I have ever been in my entire life. I know that. So having to be intentional in your physical well-being doesn't always mean about weight loss. It could be being on top of blood pressure. It could be being on top of memory loss. There's lots of things that are packaged into your physical well-being. How to be an intentional woman, right? So you can be confident in your emotions and your hormones and not feel like you're in a constant battle with yourself, right? I know that some of you feel like you're in a constant battle with yourself. And part of that is emotions, and part of that is hormones, and part of that is just the circumstances of your life and being a woman, being in a hard marriage or being in a hard relationship. I know that. So this is how to be an intentional woman. If you are a wife, how to be an intentional wife. So you can be the helpmeet that your husband needs, right? So that you can have a good, strong, solid, faith-filled marriage. How to be intentional in your business or career. So you can design your business or your career with your drive and your focus. Totally. So these are just some of the areas. That was just 6 of them, right? There's 12 modules that we are walking through. Each module has 4 lessons and worksheets for application, because I can tell you what to do, but if you don't apply it, it doesn't matter. Okay, so that's what this is about. This is about taking it and being intentional and applying that in all aspects of your life. So the cost is the cost is currently $497, paid in full for the 12 months, or you can pay 12 monthly payments of $47, and that cost will go up in a couple of months. In a couple of months, it goes up. June 1st is when that cost bumps up to $997 for the year and $97 for the month. So just want to share that with you guys, because goals is what we are focused on, right? This is 12 areas of your life that we are setting very specific goals for and being intentional to pursue them and apply this in your life. So if you're interested in more details, go ahead and put doing in the comments, and I will get you more details. And like I said, it starts from the time you sign up and goes forward. Like, other people have signed up along the way, and it just starts where you sign up and moves forward. So it is Thursday. I hope you guys have a most fantastic weekend. No live tomorrow. I will see you back here on Tuesday. And what's it called? If you got weather coming, be safe, bundle up. Have a great day, guys.